coming out. For those of you who I have not met, my name is Scott Lightman, and I'm the Communications Director for USA Swimming. We want to welcome everybody out here to Irvine this week for our fifth Phillips 66 Nationals. Again, you see the hashtag up there as you're writing your stories this week. If you have room in your 140 characters to include the hashtag in there, that'd be great as we collect all of the conversation about this week. Your stories will hopefully be seen by more people, so thank you for that in advance. A great day of press conferences here. We're going to start off with Katie Ledecky, world record holder from the Washington, D.C. area, and her coach is Bruce Gemmell from Nation's Capital Aquatic Club. So Katie's going to give an opening statement, then we'll have some Q&As. We have some wireless mics, so if you just raise your hand, we're live on the webcast, so we can capture your question, identify yourself as well. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Katie.
All right, thanks, Scott, and thanks to all of you for being here, for your coverage. I'm really looking forward to this week and excited for some fast swimming and to see all my national teammates and see how fast they can go too. It's an exciting week, and this meet is a really crucial meet for a lot of people, so it's going to be an exciting week. Take any questions.
Nick?
Thanks for taking time, guys. This is Nick Siccardi from NBC Sports. Katie, I want to ask you, when was the first time you heard about a swimmer named Missy Franklin, and what were your impressions of her?
Probably when I was 13-ish, a couple of years ago, right when she was on the scene at Worlds, swimming fast, and so I watched her swim when she swam at Worlds when I was a little younger, and watching all these swimmers compete online, and she was swimming really fast, and I've enjoyed getting to know her over the past 2 years on the Olympic team and the Worlds team, and it's always great to be on a team with her. She has really great positive energy and is fun to be on a team with.
Katie, I think a lot of people lump the 800 and 1500 together and think, well, if you're a distance swimmer, you can swim both and be good at both. Can you describe what the differences are? In some ways, it seems like the two might have as much to do with each other as the 400 and the 100, or, how do you look at it?
I guess I look at them pretty similarly. Sometimes I even go a best time in the 800 off the mile split, so I think I approach them fairly similarly. I treat them as races, and I know what paces I need to hit for the 800 and the mile, and I guess those two are more similar than the 400 and the 800. Everything under the 800 is sprint for me.
So if you go your best time in an 800 on your way to a 1500, how do you explain not being able to go faster in just the regular 800?
Well, it doesn't happen anymore, but I know my mile in June, I think I went my third or fourth best time in the 800, so I don't think you'll be seeing that anymore, but it's just, once I get into a rhythm, it's pretty hard for me to stop holding that rhythm.
Nicole, Iraq, USA Today. Katie, I know you're entered in a lot of different distances here, but generally speaking, I mean, what appeals to you about these longer distances? Not all swimmers do them and are obviously not as dominant doing them either, but what do you like about the 800 and the 1500?
I think I like the training for it the most. I just like the feeling of a hard practice, and Bruce gives them to us, and I've been training for everything though. I think I see myself more as a freestyler than a distance swimmer, so I focus on the freestyles mainly.
The 200-meter freestyle, I think a lot of people are anticipating watching you in because it's actually a distance where people are close to you in races, especially with the Americans, Missy and Allison. What intrigues you the most about that event and having that kind of domestic competition in it?
I think it's really exciting, and I think the best part about it is hopefully we'll all be on a relay together at some point, whether that's this year or next year or sometime in the future. And I think the more that we push each other, the faster we're going to go, and the faster our relay is going to be. So that's the most exciting thing, I think, in my view.
Bruce, from a coach's perspective, what's it like to see her in a 200 in a race where it's, you know, it's not a foregone conclusion in a lot of cases?
Well, certainly the thing that intrigued Katie in particular and myself about the 200 was the relay and the relay possibilities with it. Obviously, if you want to swim on a women's 800 free relay for the U.S., you need to be pretty good at 200. And in order to get good enough to be on the relay, all of a sudden we're, you know, pretty competitive in it individually also. So, I mean, the relay is what's driving it. And, you know, she's gotten pretty good at it.
Hi, Katie. Dan Albano. I'm with the Orange County Register. Following up with your talked about training, how many meters do you swim a day? How many days a week? Can you talk about what your training regimen is like?
Well, Bruce could probably answer that better than I could, but it's probably about 7,000 to 9,000 for practice, and then about 8 times a week or 9 times a week. I guess in the summer it's a little more. I think in the summer I swim 9 times a week. And then I do dry land on top of that too, 2 to 3 times a week.
So you're going twice a day training sessions?
A couple days a week, yes.
Katie Philip Hirsch of the Chicago Tribune. I presume that your plan would be to defer your entry to Stanford 1 year and take that year and train for the Olympics, or is that not your plan?
That's something I'm certainly thinking about, and I'll be making that decision in the next couple of months.
Sprinters take relays for granted. As someone who swims events that are usually tacked on to the end and seems like kind of a lonely existence for the distance swimmer, is that part of the allure for you, is to just really feel more of that team atmosphere and being part of a relay where you're not so alone?
I guess so. It's exciting to be a part of Team USA. It's just a really great team, so many great swimmers. So it truly is an honor to be on a relay, and that's something that I have been shooting for. I was on it last year and really enjoyed it there. So hopefully I'll have a few more of those in the future. I think just being in an event with 3 other people and being in the ready room with them, and it's a pretty relaxing environment, and we're all working towards the same goal, and we want to do our best to represent the country, and you do it all together. So it's fun when 4 people can do it all together.
You're entered in the individual medleys here. How serious of an event is that for you, and could you compete that at major international meets at some point?
I don't think I'll be swimming it internationally anytime in the future, and we'll see if I swim them here. So that's sort of to be determined, but it's better to over-enter here than under-enter.
Another question, sorry. Going back to Missy, last year at the World Championships was really interesting because you broke your world records, won your 4 gold medals, and she also set the record for most golds by a woman at a single Worlds. And you were named the swimmer of the meet. I think you also won World Swimmer of the Year, and I think I remember the press conference you said, this award deserves to go to Missy. What kind of, I guess, emotions do you kind of have watching her at that meet and kind of the back and forth between you guys, almost kind of, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it was any back and forth or anything like that. We just both wanted to do our best, and I guess that award could have gone to both of us, or either of us. So it was really exciting to be on the team with her, and everybody on the team was just trying to do their best, and Misty did phenomenally, and I had probably my best meet of my life. So it was a really exciting meet. I hope to be on more international trips and more international trips with Missy.
Katie, is this week a shave and taper meet for you that you're really geared a lot of training toward this meet to go potentially?
Yeah, it's an important meet. This meet and Pan Pacs. Hopefully I'll qualify for Pan Pacs, and these 2 meets are really big for qualifying for Worlds next year. So there is a good amount of focus on this meet, and I've just been doing whatever he's been telling me to do in practice, and hopefully it'll mean good swimming this week.
John Howe from NBC. Katie, the 2 world records in Texas, that was coming off an altitude training camp, that's right?
Yes.
Is that the first time you had gone to a meet after an altitude training camp?
Yes, it was. That was my first extended period of time at altitude. I was there for 18 days, and then we went to Texas and swam the meet there. So it was my first time. I didn't know exactly what to expect or what times to expect, so it was fun to swim fast and feel good there.
Bruce, considering her success there, is that something you're considering in the future? More altitude camps, a regular occurrence once a season?
Before we left camp, I had already booked time for next year, so it was booked whether she was successful or not, I guess. But that was sort of the plans, and that was the first, as she said, is the first time she was there. Everybody reacts differently. Obviously, we got a favorable reaction, but we'd already booked the time before the results, so wasn't a big change of plans or anything.
When you were leaving the camp, did you expect special things coming out of the camp from her? I know people can react differently, but did you see something that said that maybe she would react well?
You know, I had a ballpark where I thought she would swim, and sometimes I lose perspective myself on just how fast that time might be or where it is in relation to everybody else. As she said before, I think we both expected her, in the mile in particular, 15:40 or just under. So there wasn't a huge surprise, but I think we sort of forget that that's a pretty good swim sometimes.
Bruce, you were a distance swimmer. You've coached a number of distance swimmers. When you hear Katie say, once I get into a rhythm, it's pretty hard for me to stop, how much can you relate to that? How rare is that ability to have that metronomic?
I think you used the right word there. It's almost a metronome that gets going. And having swum, I can relate to it a little bit. More so, I can listen to the swims and really understand whether it's being swum well or not. Maybe that's just spending too much time on lonely pool decks, but you can hear the rhythm, the cadence, the metronome, and you know what to expect out of the individual swimmers as far as that goes. Just the stroke rate and the noise of the kick or the water entry, whatever it is. It's I know Katie has said from when she's swimming it, she feels that way, and I said I can listen to it, and you know sort of how the swim is going.
Sometimes during practice he says, that doesn't sound like fast swimming, or that sounds like fast swimming. So.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's a concert pianist can obviously hear it on the piano, and we hear it on the pool deck.
Hey, Coach, can you describe, if Katie has like a consistent strategy on these distance events, like in the 800 and the mile, in terms of how she takes it out? Does she pretty much go hard from the very beginning, or is she like a back halfer that you hear a lot with distance, swimming? But does she have a consistent strategy in how she tries to swim these races?
I think one of Katie's biggest growth areas over the last 2 years is that she can swim the races multiple ways. I think maybe up until a couple years ago, she was most comfortable and had only swum it going out real hard from the start. But based upon her swims last summer in Barcelona, that for various reasons we chose to swim different ways, and the swims down in Texas, I think that's her biggest growth area, that she can now swim back half, front half, middle half, every other lap, or however we choose to swim it. We've done that before.
What kind of strategies, what kind of factors change those, the way you swim, what way she swims those races? What kind of things are sometimes factored in?
Probably the 2 biggest things would be obviously the competitive field and then where the race falls in the overall program schedule. You're going to swim differently on the first day of a 7 or 8 day meet than you might on the last day.
Guess I'll go for one more if I could. Then can you talk about anything that might be factors this week where Katie's pretty, her seed times are quite a bit ahead of in the distance events than the competition?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to remember for this week is that, this week is one of 2 weeks of racing over the next 3 weeks, and we almost have to view it as a 3-week meet. Not quite, but it's almost a 3-week meet, and we need to manage that accordingly. That'll dictate as much as anything.
Bruce, you know, you were saying a little bit earlier, hinting at that, you know, you get so used to seeing certain times or certain swims that you forget sometimes, oh, that was a really good race. Does you know, it happen in Texas or any time Katie swims, did it ever surprise you anymore, or the growth that she has made in her swimming over the last year or two?
You know, it's always relatively incremental, so it's sort of in some ways like watching your kids grow up. You don't, you know, realize that they're 6 feet tall. They don't go from 4 feet to 6 feet. And, you know, Katie's sort of done the same thing. I mean, every time we've gotten a little bit better in different areas.
So literally in a pool full of practice swimmers or in a noisy arena for a meet, you can literally hear the sounds of what her stroke is like?
Yeah.
How do you hear that amidst all the other racket in the background?
That's not racket. You know, obviously the fewer swimmers that are in the water, the easier it is to pick out. You know, if we have a practice of 40 swimmers going, I may not be able to do it, but when we're in small numbers or in a race setting, you can pick it out pretty easily. I mean, it's something we listen to for 20 hours a week, so you get used to it.
Katie, picking Stanford, did you talk to Janet Evans at all before that or since picking Stanford? Have you heard from Janet at all?
No, not really. I actually met her for the first time at Golden Goggles in November, so it was really nice to meet her. And at that point, the college process was just sort of ramping up, so I never had much conversation with her about that. But I know that there's a great history there, and I'm really excited about my decision, and I'm looking forward to swimming for Stanford and competing at the NCAA level there.
What was the conversation like between you and Janet at Golden Goggles?
Well, I was actually at the Swimming Through the Decades event where Janet, Lenny Kraselberg, Matt Biondi, and Tracy Calkins were there, and Rowdy was moderating. So it was really neat to hear them talk and tell their stories of their Olympic experiences and sort of share those moments with each other.
Were you the only active swimmer there?
Yes, I was.
Any other questions for Katie? All right, well, Katie's on the docket tomorrow for the 100 and 800 free, and we'll
Thank you.
probably see you in the big zone after.
Thanks.
Thank you.